Venom The Last Dance is now showing in cinemas, so here's my review of Venom The Last Dance. So, where do I begin? I know this review is coming in a little late, and by this point, there isn't anything about this movie that hasn't been said already, but yeah, it's bad. Really bad. I could think of two things that maybe worked in this movie, and that's Tom Hardy as both Eddie Brock and Venom, and the action sequences. First up, Tom Hardy. I love that he goes all out with the cheese, he's very self-aware as to what kind of movie he's in, and he does not hold back in his performance. This is one of the most decorated actors of this generation we're talking about, doing the corniest things you've ever seen, but the dedication to the cheese and the camp is something you just gotta respect. You know, in another universe, I would have really loved to see him as the comic-accurate Eddie Brock, the big brawn who's a weasel of a reporter who will do anything to get a story out there, butting heads with a young goody-two-shoes Peter Parker. That would have been great. But I guess we'll never see that. Next up, the action sequences. I feel like out of all the Venom movies, this one has the most creative action sequences. We got a really cool chase scene at a river and a really fun third act final battle. I also appreciate the willingness to get a little more violent. This one definitely has more blood and violence. You see people getting their heads chomped off. They have these aliens that hunt down symbiotes called xenophages, and their heads are basically wood chippers, and you see these things blitz people up in a really gory way, and I like that they went there. Shame Carnage didn't get that same treatment when he was still around. In America, this movie is rated PG, but here in the Philippines, the MTRCB has decided to up the rating to R13, which is no problem for anyone who's above 13, but I feel like this movie lost a lot of its target demographic by increasing the rating, the target demographic being kids. Because I feel the Venom movies are only truly entertaining to 5-year-olds. And Venom The Last Dance is no different. This movie is what non-comic book readers think comic book fans like. Dumb and over-the-top action sequences with explosions and cheesy dialogue. After seeing this movie, I was talking to my friends about it, and all I could say was, this movie is like a dumber version of Logan. If Logan was this gritty and very emotional swan song for Wolverine, Venom The Last Dance tries to be that emotional send-off movie while being dumb as rocks. Complete with random family that takes care of the main character and teaches him the value of having a person to call their home, evil henchmen that chase the good guys, and a Vegas side quest. They really want you to think that this is the last one, that we'll never see Venom or Eddie again. If Logan's ending felt earned and truly emotional, Venom The Last Dance's ending felt like emotional manipulation. I find it absolutely hilarious every time they try to get you to care about Venom and Eddie's relationship, because despite Tom Hardy's good performance, I really could not connect with these characters. Don't even get me started with the military Area 51 subplot and that scientist lady subplot, because every time they cut to their scenes, I groan internally. They dedicate a good chunk of time to these people we just met, and it doesn't really lead to anything by the end. Speaking of characters that don't lead anywhere, let's talk about Knull, or more specifically, the lack of Knull. The trailers really try to hype you up for this character, but ultimately, he got the dark side treatment. He was just there to look menacing, say a couple threatening monologues, get his henchmen to do his bidding, but he's not gonna come out and play. He's just gonna sit there and pray the next movie gets made, because if it doesn't, he just ends up being a dog with all bark and no bite. If he wasn't already. Now, with all due respect to one of the all-time greats, Quentin Tarantino, he recently came out and said that he liked Joker Folie à Deux because it's like the director became the Joker himself and took millions of studio dollars and made a movie that acted like a big middle finger to comic book geeks with high expectations. Well, Quentin, if you like that, have I got a movie for you. As a matter of fact, I've got 5 movies for you. Because that's exactly what the Sony Spider-Man spin-offs feel like, a big middle finger to comic book fans. If you guys didn't know, there's a rumor going around that the next Spider-Man movie is going to be called Spider-Man King in Black, and we'll have Spider-Man team up with the Sony spin-off characters to fight off Knull. And I really hope that's not the case. I hope Spider-Man 4 is a street-level movie, because I don't want to see him team up with these guys to fight off a half-baked villain in a half-baked cinematic universe.